Hey everyone, welcome to the Do the Thing podcast. This is your host, Stacey Lauren. I love being able to meet people and then being able to interview them on my podcast. It's probably one of the things that I love the most about my podcast is just being able to have the space to get to know someone's story and who they are. And I recently met my next guest through a group that we're both in that I joined recently. And it's funny, I don't even remember when I bought her product, if it was before I joined the group or if it was after I joined the group, but I heard about her company and she sells this amazing probiotic dental stick that actually tastes good. It's shocking because every other dental stick I've tried for my dog has not tasted good and my dog cannot wait to have this treat every morning. And I got to meet her through the group that we're in and also through the product that I bought. And she also just recently joined our podcast challenge. So she'll be starting a new podcast as well. And so she's an expert in the pet health and wellness space. So I am just so excited to welcome Tara to the show. Hey, Tara.
Hi, Stacey. Thank you for having me today. I'm so excited to be chatting with you and going through all of the fun things that we will discuss.
I know. I'm just so excited because to be where you're at now, I can only imagine everything that you've gone through to get here. And I'm just really excited to kind of dive into how you even got to this point. So do you mind just sharing your story?
Absolutely. I'd love to. So I started a mobile pet grooming business 15 years ago, and it's a traditional in-person service business where we go to clients' homes and we deliver dog and cat grooming right at their location. They could be anywhere. We've gone to tarmacs. We've gone to pet-friendly employers, high-rises, residences, etc., everywhere. And basically what we do is a labor of love. And over the years, after serving over 50,000 pets, working with over 10,000 pet parents across our region here, I'm outside of Philadelphia, suburban Philadelphia metro area, we've come to realize that there are a lot of health issues that our pets experience. And because the clients that work with us really rely on us, not just for grooming, but for pet knowledge, health and wellness tips, I decided that there had to be something else that we could do as a company to really help to improve their pets' longevity and improve their quality of life. So we decided to embark on a very long process of determining what the product would be. And we landed on probiotic dental sticks as our first product.
Amazing. So it all started from you basically going around and bathing dogs. So how did you even start that part of the business?
So I was working in corporate America, and I had a job that required me basically to live out of a suitcase. I traveled 100% of the time. And each week I would fly out on a Monday, and I had a dog. I had this beautiful chocolate lab that I named Avery. It's my namesake. I figured, he was the only child that I'd have, my fur baby. And I would see the same people checking in every Monday and picking up their dogs, checking out every Thursday or Friday. And I remember thinking, gosh, it's nice to have this experience, to have this type of facility that would take great care of my baby, these high-end day resorts, basically. And I thought, I wonder what it would be like if people could have something right at their door. They didn't have to schlep to drop off their pet. They were in the convenience of their home, and we could offer a service. So I just started looking into starting a business and landed on starting with mobile grooming first. I wanted to do sort of like a all-encompassing facility with the training and the boarding and the daycare and all of that. But as a new startup, it was cost prohibitive, right? So I started out self-funding a mobile pet grooming business, one woman in a van, and as they say, the rest is history. And we grew to several vans. We serviced 3 states. We got to have a pretty wide footprint, and I started hiring people and worked as a small family. And like I said, over the years, after having started doing the mobile, was always looking for other ways just to improve people's lives and happiness and add joy. Our tagline, like I said, is what we do is a labor of love, and we just deliver tender love and care to not just the fur babies, but to the people that love them. So this seemed like a natural progression to move into the pet product space because we were already taking care of our loved ones, essentially. And this was an extension of it.
And I think that is so cool because when you see a need in the market and then you're courageous enough to be able to go after it, you're like, oh, wow, I just did the thing, basically.
It's the thing. Yes. Yeah. And it's funny you say that because at the time I was looking for mentors and I didn't have a lot of people to pull from to learn the business, to which van do I buy? What if something breaks down? How do I address all the ins and outs of having a business, let alone a business on wheels? And it's funny, I would go to the gas station and fill up my rig, and all of these male contractors and male dominated industries would come to me and say, I love your rig. I love your Sprinter. At the time, Sprinters weren't as prevalent as they are now. And it's, oh, thank you, so you're right. It took courage to kind of dive into something that I wasn't sure of. I was learning on the go, but I'm really glad that I did it. We had a lot of support to get it.
Yeah, what's coming up for me right now, it's so random, but the person that spurned the Do the Thing podcast to move when I was kind of bottlenecked was someone that I hired to help me go paddleboarding with my dog, which I didn't even know was a thing. And she had this huge white van. It was this commercial van, and she had this picture of a dog paddleboarding on it. And when she showed up in that van, I was like, oh my gosh, you really did the thing. It seems so similar. And it's funny, now I'm on 150 episodes and I'm interviewing you. I'm like, oh, it's coming up for me. I feel like that's such a huge part of doing the thing when you can just pay for the van and you're really going for it.
Yes. Yes. And I remember those early years, just me, the doggy or the cat sometimes. And it's a beautiful salon. So you have my skylights open and it's natural breeze, natural light. And I just felt so grateful to be able to have that opportunity to help other people with their families. They were helping me to fulfill a dream. And it was just a great, great feeling. And it took a lot of faith. It really did. I just remember reflecting on how thankful I was.
Yeah, I'd love to talk about how you started the new thing that you're doing, because this is really doing the thing in a whole different way. And I'm sure you're pulling on some of the same skills that you had to do from the first thing. I have it here, your amazing probiotic dental sticks. And I have to show you guys. So if you're listening, you're missing something. So you might want to check it out later. But it's like an actual treat. When you go to the pet store and you're buying dental sticks, it's the green things, and I don't want to slam anyone else's products, but my dog does not like them. Let's just put it that way. And with this, she cannot wait for me to basically be giving her what she thinks is a treat.
And it is. Our tagline for this product is treat with benefits. So the action of treat with benefits. How did we land on this? So listen, even after all the time we've been in business, all the pets we saw, all the experiences we had, I still did not want to pretend like I knew what my people needed. So I went to them very candidly and graciously and said, please, we're looking to expand into pet products and specifically health and wellness products. Let's just talk. Tell me more about some of the challenges you're facing with your pet. Tell me about your lifestyle. What do you read? What do you aspire to? Let's just go back to basics here. So I ended up conducting 140 40-minute phone interviews.
Wow.
It took a long time. It took a very long time. I have the best clients. I really do. Even now, I tear up. I'm just so thankful for them with their trust and their love. So we did that. And then we also sent out a survey, and 400 responses came in from the survey. And we basically collected all the data. I had some handwritten notes. I had some recordings. I mean, it was a massive endeavor to get everything summarized and then to figure out what are the key things. So my ultimate goal was to not treat symptoms. I have a dog. I have 2 dogs, but my one dog, he is the dog. I call him the dog because if something could go wrong, he is the dog. His skin is very sensitive. He has allergies. He gets essentially like these keloids that form on his skin from bug bites. He is the dog. But we love him. He's our family. So I wanted to find something that would get to the root cause of any issues that the pets were having. So a lot of times, my pet parents are funny. They say, can you just make their breath smell better? I'm like, well, that's a symptom of something else. Can he just stop licking his paws? Can he just stop scooting? What do we do for digestion? I sometimes can't even make it out the door for the walk and the do is done. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I said, okay. I contacted vets and pet nutritionists and formed a team and said, hey guys, this is the data. This is what my people are saying. These are the things that I'm identifying. And this is some research I've done, but what do you think? And so essentially we landed on the gut. We landed on probiotics, and even for people being sort of a great way to manage bacteria throughout your bloodstream, throughout your body. And so I said, okay, if we start with the mouth, we start with oral care because everything in your mouth travels throughout your body, then that will help to reduce the bacteria in the mouth and in the bloodstream and all of the organs that get affected by the bacteria cycling through the body. And so, yes, the box says probiotic dental sticks because it does help to address issues from the inside out. But pet parents are going to have some relief with gut issues and itching due to allergies and skin problems, et cetera. So a long way of saying we did a lot of research. We spoke to a lot of people and brought in experts to really help us drive the path forward.
I love that you went to your community and the people that you were already serving to really get to know what they wanted and needed, and the way that you were able to do it from such a deep knowing place, kind of starting with the root of where everything comes from. You didn't start with a superficial layer. You started with something that actually can make a difference from the inside out.
That was really exciting. And don't get me wrong, one of the reasons why I went to the community is because they know us the best, right? They remember when it was just me, right, starting the business. And then suddenly we have other people joining us, and they've seen us at our worst days and our best days. So I felt that they would be honest and forthcoming with their advice. And so it ended up being a good thing. There's people who say, well, you guys are groomers, right? You have a grooming business. What do you know about pet health and wellness? We're like, well, it's part of our certification. We are required at my company. It's not like a law or anything, but it's something that we do by example. We undergo continuing education every year. We do partner with people who are formally trained in medicine, right? Veterinarians. We do consult with pet nutritionists. We ensure that we have the right team behind the scenes and visibly for our clients to help them with anything that they may need. So it's not about being a groomer. It's about being a pet professional that's trying to do the right thing and relying on a team of experts and leading with love.
How did you make them taste so good? That's what I'm wondering too.
Oh my gosh. That was hard. And I'll be honest, the first 2 runs, I don't think they tasted so hot because I have a dog, Garbo, who is the cutest little mini schnauzer, who turned up his little nose. And he said, I don't care if you made him. I'm not eating. He would not eat the first 2 batches. I have a client that has been with us every single week for the last 14 years, and I trust her wholeheartedly. I called her up and I said, I'm driving over. I have something for you and the dogs. And she's like, oh my gosh, hurry up, get over here. We're both looking. She gives them the treats and we're looking and they're like, they don't want them. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I had a real problem.
Yeah.
The treats did not taste good. The bacon and the peanut butter flavors did not, guess maybe there wasn't enough. So we went back to the drawing board, went back to the experts and said, let's revise the formulation without putting too much junk in there because it's an all natural product. I said, but it has to taste good. If they don't eat it, it won't work.
Yeah.
So trial and error and revamping, revising the formulation is how we finally got dogs to eat the product.
That's so cool.
Now they love it.
That's great. No, I know. My dog Sweetie loves them. And if you need another tester, let me just see. Is she in her normal spot? Let me see if she's there. No, she's not there. No. If you need another tester, she will volunteer. So
I love it. I would love it when she resurfaces, please. Right.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think I told you this offline, but to me, I think the work that you're doing is so meaningful because in my dog story, my dog had an embolism, which a lot of people say is like a stroke. That's the easy way to say it. And she became paralyzed. And this was 4 years ago. And then I had to rehab her and get her pretty much able to walk again. And she still walks with a limp, but it took a while. And I feel like once you go through something like that, you have like a soul connection with your animal. And I got to see her look at me with her eyes like, is this forever? Are you going to be able to help me? And then to be able to help her was great. And so then immediately once I saw your product, I was immediately connected to it because I think the more, and especially when you think about it from the teeth perspective and from the dental, because that's what they say, it can go into all your body. So if there's anything out there that can help make anything even just a little bit better, I'm going to do it.
We feed our dogs a special diet. And I know a lot of my clients, to your point about the embolism, have had dogs with health issues, right? So I knew that, again, going back to my community, I knew we had everything that we needed within them. A lot of them have gone to doggy therapy. They've done water therapy. The doggy's on the treadmill and in the water, and they get acupuncture. They see pet psychics. They have a lot of physical therapy also. Dogs recovering from cancer. They may be going through chemo with their treatment. I mean, it's a full spectrum of what we see from a health perspective. And so I knew it was very important that whatever we created, it had to contribute to their longevity. It had to improve their overall health and support the life that the pet parents were investing so much in improving and maintaining. So I am glad you said that, because that was our goal. We really wanted to be able to do exactly what you said.
I'd love to know what your goal is for Avery's Holistic Paws.
Oh my gosh. So we have big plans, as we always do. Really, what I'd like to get to is to have a small army of pet parents that have used our products. We have measurable results, right, that they're able to share with us about my pet went from A to B, right, and have noticeable improvement. But the probiotic dental sticks is the first one. We plan to launch 6 to 8 products over the next 18 months. So allergies is a huge thing. We'll probably have a separate product just for allergies. We'll have a higher concentration of ingredients that will help to provide some relief, but then also to get to the root cause. Maybe we'll package that with a topical wipe, right? That has some all natural botanicals to help to reduce the allergens on the fur and the skin. We're looking at tear reducers. A lot of times my pet parents say, my dog's eyes have this beautiful Bichon, this beautiful white standard poodle, this Maltese, Shih Tzu, etc. And they just have the worst tear stains. What do I do? And it's, well, that comes from the gut. So looking at products that, based on this big data collection that we did, that would address many of the points that our pet parents need. So the goal really is to reach as many people as we can, touch as many lives, and help them as much as we can is our goal. And to collaborate with other people that we could help reach their goals too, right? And sharing the message and collaborating on the products that we offer.
Is this where the podcast kind of idea is coming up, where that's going to be able to sort of sync that together?
So so now you have me spilling the beans.
Yes.
When I was younger, I wanted to be a journalist. And then I was like middle school, high school, and then I wanted to be a TV anchor. So I thought, I'll do this. And then you get fearful and look at the price of college. And you're like, I don't know. So I went for the practical route. I changed from liberal arts and went to business. But the podcasts are big. I am addicted to podcasts. I have so many people that I feel that I know intimately, right? Because I hear their voice and I love their advice, and they shift me in my life. And I thought, after all of this time, I wonder if we could do a podcast. I wonder if I could take the knowledge that I've gained, the experiences that we've had with our lovely clients and friends, and invite my other friends and pet experts to this podcast to have a platform that would really just provide knowledge and health and wellness tips and information for pet parents trying to do their best with their beloved fur babies. So I kind of married the two and came up with this idea of doing the podcast. I'll be honest, I'm not sure exactly how it will look, how will it unfold. I'm working on all of those details, but I just know that I want to serve and I want to help use what I have to give back and to create a difference.
And I'm thinking as you're talking, because you're in the podcast challenge, the Do the Thing Sort of podcast challenge, which is so great. And I've already seen you do a few dares in the group. And it's kind of cool because I'm imagining there's probably a lot of people in the group that have pets. And that might be a good resource for you to even kind of start the engine running, where you could interview them about their pets and just sort of get started. And then eventually, and who knows, maybe some of them are experts. I have a lot of professional people in the group. So maybe some of them are even veterinarians and you could interview them.
That's a great idea.
And Yeah. And I think that might
Perfect.
be kind of cool. And it just sort of, it could just go in directions that you can't even imagine once you kind of like what happened with your business, right? You would have never imagined you'd be selling these when you started your mobile dog washing business. And
That's
then
right.
it sort of
That's
converted
right.
into this whole thing. It's the same thing with the podcast.
It's true. It's true. Well, I have to say, watching you bring everybody out of their shell, right? By having this challenge, by having the community has been very inspiring. And I have witnessed you even just starting with a simple idea of a challenge and really just having people transform and shed the layers of whatever it is that they had, self-doubt, indecision, uncertainty, whatever, and go into a totally different path in many different directions. So I believe you. It will morph. It will, which is good. And I'm just going to go with it.
Yeah. What do you think? Because I love looking at past experiences that have happened and that you've already done the thing with, and then being able to compare it to present to new things. Because when you do something new,
Sure.
it's scary. But then when you remember, oh, I've already done this before. What do you think about that?
Oh, that's a good one. So I think about we were 10 years in business and we were doing well as a mobile service. And I decided that, again, how could I reach the most people with dogs and cats and make the most impact? We opened 2 storefronts. We opened 2 locations and 2 very different counties, 45 miles apart. And we did fine, right? I was terrified to open the first one and just really, really terrified to open the second one. But like you said, I leaned on historical performance and thought, you know what? We did the one, we'll do the second. And then it ended up being fine. And then with one of the locations, we had a job skills training program. One of the goals that I had with that location was beyond just serving the pet parents and helping them with their pet care, was to also help those who were seeking employment, but they may want to do an untraditional route, which is grooming. Those who had visible and invisible disabilities, those who may have been second chance citizens and were looking for a new opportunity with, if they had minor infractions and they wanted to get back to work, and they just needed an opportunity. So we partnered with nonprofits with the job skills training program, and that was so rewarding. But I was afraid to do it because I didn't know what to expect. But then when I would see people come in, and like I said, if they had a visible disability and they're now petting the dog, they're brushing him out, they're singing to them, suddenly it tapers off, right? If they have something happening physically. And to watch that and to say, wow, our business is a vehicle of good for this person, right? Now they can go home and feel more confident and look at other jobs they may want to apply for, look at other things they may want to try with their life. So we've been really lucky to be able to do that. And you're right, when I get out of my comfort zone, good things happen. So thank you for reminding me of that because yeah, starting a podcast is a big deal. There's a lot of them out there and I want to definitely add value. I don't want to say we have a podcast and it's not hitting the mark. So it's something that I'll definitely pour my heart into to make it the best I can.
When I think about you and your story that you're sharing today and just how much you've gotten out of your comfort zone in your life and just all these new things that you've done and tried and keep moving forward, what do you think really helps you do that?
Support of my friends, support of the faith that I can do it, even when I am uncertain and totally doubtful. It's not even uncertain. I'm just steadfast. Nope, it's not going to work. Digging deep and saying, you know, don't worry about what you want to do and how you feel. Think about the people who need it. And so that gets me out of my head. That gets me out of my funk, out of my fear, because there's people who need help. And even to this day, when I answer the phone and someone's calling me for a dog grooming and I have to tell them, oh, you have a waiting period and it's some time. And this little voice comes through the phone and says, but this is my life. I'm a little old lady or I'm a little old man living alone. And this is my dog or this is my service dog. I'm blind. I need help. And whatever their situation might be, I'm a college student. I'm homesick. And my mom gave me this dog, right? A family, a woman running her household. Her husband may be traveling all week. She's home with 5 kids or she's managing the home, managing the kids. She may be working too. This dog is what my kids see when they come home from school. I might be on a call in between making dinner and trying to do all the things. we need our pet cared for. I think about all those people that need our service, and I say, you know what? You don't have time to be afraid and to second guess. There's people who need you. Get it together and get it done. That moves me forward.
Just so you know, I'm clipping this because this is going in the Start a Podcast Challenge because we're on day 3. And the way I build the challenges is I have an idea of what dares I'm going to do on what day. And the dare I gave yesterday, which was who is going to resonate with your message. I dare you to record who do you want to listen to your podcast, basically, for people listening that aren't a part of the challenge. And I did that dare because I realized there were a lot of people that were in their head. And the only way I'm going to get them out of their head is if they think about who it's for. And it's just it feels very serendipitous that you're saying the same thing because when you start to think of who it could be for, you don't have time to mess around with your own inner dialogue.
Right. That's right. It's true. And especially if their circumstances are much different from yours, right? And you're crying over spilled milk when this person is in dire need and managing their own life and being successful at it. You have no excuses, is what I think. Right. So,
yeah. What do you think in addition to that? And sorry, I'm putting you on the spot, but I feel like we're here, so we have to stay here for a minute. What do you think would help people that are very much in their head and they've already done that where they're figuring out who it's for? What's that thing that gets you to flip that switch to be able to do the thing? Because when I think of the things that you've done, really bold moves, I mean, making this and creating something like that, buying that huge van, creating another location, all these things are so monumental, right? That you've done. How do you get through that?
And this may sound cheesy, but I have a young daughter. When I started my company, we didn't have children, right? Avery was the namesake and we had other pets. We have more now. And so one of the things that is important to my husband and I, as we raise our kids, boy and a girl, is the importance of opportunity and access, right? So I feel an obligation, and this was instilled in me, which is why I'm passing it on to the kids. We feel an obligation that each person that exists on the planet has to take whatever they have within themselves, their wherewithal, to make an impact. And my daughter, I think she was like 3 or 4, and I'm like, don't judge me. She was young, and she was my first child. I don't know how to be a parent. I'm learning on the job. I like to read, and if I don't know something, I read it in a book to figure it out if I want to ask other people. So I got this book about women who made an impact, and I'm reading it to this little toddler. And there was a young woman, Malala, who had the big problem, right? She wasn't allowed to be educated, and on her way, she took a stand. On her way to school, she was attacked and nearly lost her life, right? She ended up winning this Peace Prize, right? Nobel Peace Prize. So I'm telling my little toddler about this story, and she's looking at me, and I'm thinking she doesn't know what I'm saying. And so to answer your question in a long-winded way, think about what I just said, right? This young lady was in these dire circumstances. She could have remained mute, right? She could have just let it go. Her father encouraged her to go to school, and then she continued that she's a worldwide hero. And so when you think about people, not saying that I'm her, not by any means, I'm just saying that's an example of story.
Yeah.
But when you think about what ordinary people do to make a big difference, and if we all could just take a little snippet of that, a little salt granule, and do our little share of where we are, things would be so much better in the world, whether it's in dog grooming or pet care, education, whatever the cause might be. We would move the needle forward for humankind. Like I said, I know it sounds cheesy, but that's what I think about. I think about the people that came before me and sacrificed. And how dare I say, I'm afraid or I'm tired, right? So I wouldn't be here talking with you if they said that. So I just feel passionate about paying it forward and doing what I can with what I have and bringing other people with me. I don't know.
Oh my God. And my heart is literally fluttered when you said, I wouldn't be here talking with you if they had said that. And I think there's so much power in just everything that you just said, but that specifically is really just blaring at me right now.
Thank you. Yeah, and it's true. You know, a lot of times you speak to people like, she's so heavy. I'm not trying to be heavy. I think it's important to have perspective because I spend a lot of time here. I really do. I have a lot of years of giving myself perspective to get out of my head and to make my arms and legs move forward, to do what's necessary.
You know what you're making me think? This is, I think, what I love so much about having a podcast. And I think you'll enjoy this too. And it's because of us both sharing this introvert thing. It's almost hard, for me at least, it's hard to have superficial conversations. I like having that deeper. And then I like seeing different perspectives too. And so the nice thing about this podcast as a tool is you're basically giving yourself a way to have these open dialogues and be able to be heavy with people and have them want it too.
It's good. It's a give and take for sure. And a connection and a bond you forge with people. Yeah. I like to get to know people and to be there for them. And it's hard to just be, there's layers, right, in life. Hello in passing and social interactions that are more high level. But at the end of the day, you want to say that somebody knew you were here and you knew they were here, right? Because you've bonded and you've connected spiritually.
And I think the other thing you said earlier that I really wanted to point out is the fact that you talked about the self-doubt and the stuff in your head, right? But you're moving anyway. And I think that there's so many people that think that the people that are doing the thing, that they're not scared. It's like they're thinking that they're not having those thoughts, but it's true. You still do. You just move through it.
You have to. I think too, somebody gave me some advice a few years ago, and maybe even recently, they reminded me that I'm a worrier. I spend a lot of time worrying. What if this happens? What if that happens? And they said, you know what? Most of the time, those worries don't even happen. It doesn't become real. We're spending our energy on it. What you need to do is spend the energy on when it happens, addressing it then. So number one, and then number two, creating the outcome that you want by making it just no question that the outcome you're seeking will happen because you're putting in the work. So basically they say too, what is the way to predict the future? Because we can't. It's to plan it.
Yeah.
How can I ensure that this will happen by taking these steps? And I now sound like I'm super controlling. I'm not saying be that, but do your best. Do all that you can so that at the end of the day, you can say, you know what? I gave it everything. I left it all out on the field. And you know what? I'm happy with that. And you'll have peace of mind with whatever happens.
I'd love to hear what your number one piece of advice is for people on doing the thing.
Do it afraid. People say that. And I'm like, that's so loaded, right? Do it afraid, but I'm too afraid to do it, right? So it's like an oxymoron, but it's true. Do it afraid, plan the outcome that you'd like, and also just take baby steps. Just do a little at a time. Be forgiving. You're not going to achieve everything right away. And you may start really strong. Life is happening every minute, right? Things happen. If you have to take a pause or readjust because it didn't go quite the way you wanted it to, give yourself some grace. Be kind to yourself. Everybody else is out there to, I say, support you and love you, but there are some that may be a naysayer. So don't be one of those critics, right? Be on the side of you can do it and have your own back.
I'd love to hear if anything's coming alive for you right now based on our conversation today.
I'm really enjoying speaking with you, and I feel alive. I feel excited that I can share a little bit from my world about my experience, and I do hope it helps someone. So I think that's what I'm feeling.
Well, please share where people can learn all about you and buy your products too.
Sure. You guys can go to averyspets.com to take a look at our online store. We are on social media. The handles are Avery's Pets. We're on Instagram and Facebook. I've been encouraged to get on TikTok. I will probably have someone help me with that. And we're on Twitter. So it's all Avery's Pets and Avery's Pet Style. So I look forward to seeing you guys there and helping you with your families.
And do you know the name of the podcast yet?
So my daughter actually named the podcast Sunny Up. I told her, my family, I wanted to focus on like the sunny side of life, the glass being half full, no matter what it is you're dealing with. And she goes, Mommy, call it Sunny Side Up. And so that's my beta name for now until I can finalize things. But yeah, for now, I think it's it's upbeat, uplifting.
Yeah, I love it. And then you guys can, for the listeners, you guys can keep up and see where the podcast lands through Instagram and through the website. I'm sure you'll have it posted.
That's right.
Too.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
very cool. So wonderful having you on. I really enjoyed this conversation with you.
Me too, Stacy. Thank you so much for having me on today. I really appreciate it. And I'm glad that your dog liked our treats, that we're helping her out. Yes, that's the best part of today.
Yeah, she's here. She's here now. So.
Oh, she's cute. Oh, she's so cute.
And
I love my dog.
I know. I'm in love with her. I know. And for the listeners, do the thing. Don't wait for opportunity. Create it.